Want to see more cool videos on our channel? We do, so press this bell and enable to send notifications.
Exploring your neatly trimmed and well-manicured backyard is hardly an experience of a lifetime. After all, what could you possibly find there except layers of dirt right beneath the fence? However, for some reason unbeknownst to us, many people believe that their homes hold historical treasures. Well, it's not like these guys witnessed the discovery of such unusual objects every single day. However, some folks have had the strange luck to stumble across super bizarre and unexpected things right around their property. Number 10. 400-year-old church bells. In 2013, a man from Czech Republic began working on a renovation of his house's plumbing system. He was digging trenches in his yard to lay the new pipes in when he struck something solid with his shovel. It was metal and it seemed to be big, but the man had no idea how big it really was until he excavated it. It turned out to be not one, but two massive old church bells. The mystery, however, was quickly revealed as those two bells had been stolen from the local church in 2002. The bells were about 400 years old and made with great craftsmanship. It's still unclear why those bells were stolen and what the thief hoped to achieve by burying them. Perhaps he was simply tired of hearing them ring every hour. This mystery is still unknown. Number 9. Mastodon skeleton. Digging up human remains from the ground may be creepy, but there's way more excitement when you dig up giant bones. This is what happened in Byron Township, Michigan earlier this year. Workers and investors were on the building site of what was to become Eagle Creek Homes. While digging, they discovered a giant rib bone. It was obvious it belonged to an ancient creature, and they even thought it came from a dinosaur. More bones came out of the ground, reaching a total of 42. The remains were taken by experts from the University of Michigan, and after studying them, they concluded that the bones belonged to a mastodon living some 10,000 years ago during an ice age. The mastodon is a creature similar to the woolly mammoth or modern-day elephants. Number 8. Cursed money bag. Most people have dreams of stumbling across a large bag of cash one day, but be careful what you wish for. An unemployed man was picking crops from his backyard garden, and soon his money troubles quickly disappeared. Or so he thought. He found two nylon drawstring bags containing no less than $150,000 US. He did the right thing though and turned it into authorities. The waiting period for the pickup of the cash was a year, and he'd have to wait that long for someone to claim it before it was his. The man's neighbor soon spoke up and attempted to claim the cash. The elderly neighbor spoke about getting rid of the money, saying it had a horrible curse. It's worth noting she had dementia. The courts decided to split the money between the man and the elderly woman's daughter. However, the man passed away shortly before retrieving the money, and days later the man's father also passed from a heart attack. Many connect these deaths to the curse the elderly woman spoke of. Number 7. Woolly mammoth fossils. James Bristle and a friend were digging in his southern Michigan soybean field when they unearthed what looked like a bent fence post, caked with mud. Instead, it was part of a pelvis from an ancient woolly mammoth that lived up to 15,000 years ago. A team of paleontologists from the University of Michigan and an excavator recovered about 20% of the animal's skeleton in Washtenaw County's Lima Township. Aside from the pelvis, they found the skull and two tusks, along with numerous vertebrae, ribs, and both shoulder blades. We think that humans were here and may have butchered and stashed the meat so they could come back for it later, Daniel Fisher, the scientist who led the dig, said on that day. 3 boulders the size of basketballs found next to the remains may have been used to anchor the carcass in a pond, he said. Number 6. Crocodile in the pool. If you own an in-ground pool, after reading this, you may begin to check it for creatures such as this one nightly. A family in Florida found this large gator relaxing at the bottom of their pool as they were turning out the backyard lights one night. The alligator was said to be 7 feet in length and somehow moseyed its way into their pool. The family reported it to the sheriff's office immediately. They were lucky they took a look inside their pool before swimming the next day. A trapper was called by the sheriff and he relocated the alligator somewhere more fitting. The video filmed shows that the gator did not want to leave the pool. It can be seen thrashing violently, fighting the trapper. There are many cases like this happening in Florida and other parts of the world. Number 5. Ancient burial stone. A historian discovered a large burial stone that's said to date back to 2000 BC. The historian and a friend had the intentions of finding a stone that was lost for over 300 years. The two did their research and uncovered several documents dating back centuries to pinpoint the location of the stone. The documents, which date back even further than the stone, state that it was located on the historian's land. It wasn't until the late 80s where the historian started to research the land and find out that he had a large ancient stone somewhere on his property. They believed the stone was to be found in pieces, saying that nothing could withstand the test of that much time. When they discovered it, it was full and covered in moss. Little did he know it was sitting right in his backyard the whole time. Number 4. Giant armadillo shell. For many of us, a stroll over the Christmas holidays is relatively uneventful, but for one man in Argentina, his jaunt was much more exciting. After popping out for some fresh air, farmer Jose Antonio Nieves stumbled across what experts believe are the remains of a prehistoric giant. The 3-foot or 1 meter long shell discovered on a riverbank near a local farm may be from a glyptodont, a prehistoric kind of giant armadillo. While there is a chance that the shell is a hoax because it hasn't been studied directly by experts, Adrian Lister of the Natural History Museum London told Mail Online, "I think it's quite likely this is genuine." But a paleontologist who studied the pictures later said it belonged to an ancient ancestor of the armadillo. Number 3. Sinkhole. A huge mineshaft at least 300 foot deep was opened up in a back garden in Cornwall. The hole drops approximately 90 meters deep to water, but the shaft could be 4 or 5 times deeper below that. The shaft was found in Scoria, Cornwall, an area with a history of mine workings, by local experts looking for mine shafts detailed on age-old mining maps. It's almost impossible to see the bottom of the sinkhole, which would be deadly to anyone who accidentally fell in, even with a bird's eye view. Fortunately, the home it was discovered under is unoccupied. Number 2. The Saddle Ridge Hoard. In 2013, a couple was walking their dog on their private property in California gold country when they stumbled across a real gold treasure, and they didn't even have to dig for it. Well, at least not too much. They noticed a piece of rusted metal that seemed to be a can of some sort sticking out of the ground, so the husband decided to pull it out. It turned out to be quite heavy, and he used a wooden stick to remove some of the soil around it. What they took out of the ground turned out to be a hoard of 1,427 gold coins in mint condition, dated to the period 1847 to 1894. The value of the coins was a total of $27,980, but their value today was assessed to be around $10 million. The coins never entered circulation and were perfectly preserved. The couple wishes to remain anonymous and are known only as John and Mary. The location of the property was also kept a secret in order to prevent treasure seekers entering the family's property. All that is known is that the location is near the site of the gold rush of 1849. Number 1. The Dream Car. We all grow up digging around sandboxes hoping to strike it rich and find some hidden ancient treasures. What we typically find is a rusty old matchbox car or a present left behind by a cat. Either way, it's very rare to find something desirable. Well, that's not quite the case with a young group of boys in California. They were digging in their yard when they found something that would make anyone's jaw drop and their mouth start drooling. In 1978, these kids were digging around in their yard when they came across something big, something metal, and something very, very valuable. A buried Ferrari. The boys actually discovered a 1974 Ferrari Dino 246 GTS buried just a few feet underneath the dirt in their yard. The family had just moved into the house and immediately called authorities after the discovery. Authorities came and roped off the area for investigation. A team of investigators arrived and carefully unearthed the rare car. After exhuming the Italian sports car, it was obvious that someone had planned on returning to retrieve the vehicle at some point in time. It was very crudely mummified with towels in the vents and tape on many of the seams. However, the windows weren't fully closed, causing a lot of interior damage. After the investigation, it turns out that the owner of the car had actually hired thieves to steal the car and dump it in the ocean, so he could claim insurance on it. The thieves buried the car with the intention of returning to pick it up for themselves. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.